Tribes of Midgard has been out for just under 2 weeks, and you know what that means? It's time to talk about all the things that we wish we knew sooner to help players of all experience levels pull off those successful saga runs. Hello friends, it's Livid here, one half of the team behind Legacy Gaming. And today, we've got a metric ton of solid tips and tricks to help you stay alive and walk away with the golden horns every single time. Now, there's a lot that Tribes of Midgard really doesn't go over in the tutorial. And for the most part, you spawn in naked and afraid, wondering how do I not screw this up for everyone else that I matchmaked with. That's where we come in. I'm sitting at around 50 hours total with the game so far, gotten through those 15 days easy, and escaped with a saga boss kill almost every single time. All it takes is some knowledge and good time management. I guarantee you this video will have something for everyone. Let's start with the basics, to really get a handle on what we were doing here. As soon as you spawn in, you'll need a bit of flint and a couple of branches in order to craft your starting harvester tools. Pretty much 2 piles of each will suffice, and that will still leave some in the immediate starting area for everyone else. Now once you've got your tools, you can hit the ground running with farming. And in Tribes of Midgard, time management is probably your biggest enemy. Start by rapidly farming the essential resources all around the starting area. These should be heavily prioritized within the first 2 days, which will allow you to focus on other things more as the days progress. Deforest everything, as wood will enable tools, weapons, and allow you to build resource-generating structures such as the quarry, farm, and lumber mill early. Now the simple wood that you gather from these trees can be turned into twigs and wooden boards at your tinkerer. Stone is another priority resource as it allows you for rapid upgrading of your harvesting tools, which will in turn allow you to get more resources out of each node that you hit. The sooner these tools are upgraded, the more resources you will get out of each zone. Stone also allows for better weapons and once again, those resource-generating structures. Then we have iron. While it isn't used that heavily in crafting, it is extremely important for making wrought iron at your tinkerer. This enables you to build your gates, your defense towers, and like a broken record, your resource-generating structures. In between all of that, as you hit trees, you'll occasionally get sap, and as you explore, you'll run into mushrooms. Those things will enable you to craft potions at your trapper. Potions are absolutely critical to your survival in the world, because if you die, you lose all the souls that you've collected. You should always have at least 3 health potions on you at all times, if not more, in order to save you from hairy situations and allow you to stay out in the field for just a bit longer. Now once you've got a single match under your belt, you'll immediately gain access to some starter kits if you progressed your seasonal rank to level 2 and crafted at least 1 common item during a match. Now if you haven't equipped a starter kit by this point, you are straight up handicapping yourself, as they allow you to start with various things like tools, armor, weapons, and more. Now while a lot of players will find value in the Harvester starter kit to immediately start harvesting, let me explain why the Villager starter kit is just overwhelmingly better, even for starting out. This kit can be easily unlocked right away by crafting any common item, meaning everyone should have access to this and fully use it. The Villager starting kit allows you to spawn with a sword, a shield, and full Villager armor, enabling you to immediately engage with the smaller hostile camps and various roaming enemies of the world, resulting in faster XP than others who have to take the time and resources to craft each of these things. On top of that, did you know that your special attack on most weapons can actually harvest resources without the need for a tool? Starting out, you might get lucky and find the flint and branches you need to craft yourself basic harvesting tools. If not, all you simply need to do is locate a small cluster of trees and maybe a stone node, special attack these, and you'll get enough resources to convert them to what you need at the tinkerer to make your tools. Now this kit also has the advantage of allowing you to immediately take on the scouting role of your group, venturing out to locate new waypoints, camps, zones, and even the all-important bridge to Glacier Peaks. Now while you are attacking things, you will build up that special charge. Use that on resources along the way to continue gathering while being focused on exploring. Now the other huge benefit to this kit is sometimes you'll have a quest requiring you to donate villager armor to complete said quest. Now if you started with this kit, you will likely have an upgraded set of armor by this point, allowing you to easily complete this quest with no wasted resources or extra time spent crafting these items. It's honestly a start that has absolutely no downsides, and it's important to me that everyone knows this. Now, while this one seems like a no-brainer, I can't tell you how many times I've encountered runs where this goes ignored for way too long. Upgrading your Tinkerer unlocks better tools early on, which results in more resources harvested from each node, and allows the crafting of wooden boards, cut stone, wrought iron, and more once your Tinkerer hits level 3, which is only a measly 750 souls total. This allows you to progress essential elements of your settlement earlier rather than later, when you have other things to worry about. Usually a rush to tier 3 is all you will need early on to make your entire group significantly more efficient overall. You heard me mention resource structures a bunch of times earlier, and that's because I want to ingrain it in everyone's head how important the quarry, lumberyard, and farm is to your success. Each structure will cost around 600 souls, some wooden boards, cut stone, and some wrought iron. Once you have your Tinkerer to tier 3, you will be able to make these required materials for construction extremely early. These outside structures will generate passive resources every 10 minutes that will allow you to continue upgrades on your settlement without really needing to focus as heavily on finding those specific resources. Each structure also generates rusty tools, which is a required item to complete some side quests in the game, making them doubly important. In addition to this one, once your upgrades are done, all of those passive resources can still be used to complete the bridge to Glacier Peaks once you locate it, as this will require a significant resource sink as well. With these buildings churning out resources, by the time you locate the bridge, you should honestly have everything you need and then some. Everything in Tribes of Midgard requires souls, which are consequently also the things that you'll lose entirely if you die. Now because of that, you need to know the best ways to obtain more and quickly. Now the easiest way to get a fair amount of souls is just by doing what you are doing. Everything you harvest and kill in the world will provide souls. When you upgrade your tools, each thing you harvest will not only give you more resources in return, but it will also generate more souls for you, making this the easiest passive method of collecting souls. Now while you're out taking on the world, look for treasure chests in camps or hidden in the world. These can provide between 250 to 400 souls depending on the level of the chest being open. If you died, lost your souls, and only have a little more durability left on your weapons, simply go clear a small camp, open that chest, and you're back in business. Quests, something I will touch on more later, also provide around 300 souls per completion. But I believe quests are probably the most inefficient things to do for souls. They are just a bonus that comes along with the more important fragments, which is worth mentioning. Additionally, killing Jotunns, the thing hell-bent on ending your run, will reward you around 1700 souls per kill. Now the cool thing is that each person that is present for the kill will get these souls as well, so make it a priority for everyone to join up and burst down the Jotunns that spawn. Now the last and often overlooked method of getting souls is actually selling your materials and fragments. Mid to late game during a run, you might find yourself with way more materials than you need or more fragments than the portal for the saga boss requires. When that happens, head to the trader with the little blue bag icon. You can sell just about anything for souls here. Fragments reward a ton, so doing events, quests, and hideouts past what is required to open the portal will help you keep a ton of souls on hand for upgrades, other purchases from special resource vendors, or even just refresh your tree's soul count to survive just a bit longer. Now, if you or someone on your team isn't exploring the map constantly, you will most likely fail your run. Simple as that. With exploring, you will reveal new fast travel locations, new camps that are on respawn timers, new biomes for unique resources, and a whole lot more. While exploring, one of the biggest things to keep in mind is to locate ramps with barriers. Now you could break these, resulting in wooden planks, wrought iron, and cut stone to directly drop on the ground, which is critical early on for creating those resource structures that I mentioned. They are also great later on for base defenses or to make the bridge to Glacier Peaks in the future. One thing to keep in mind though, do not let enemies get the last hit on these if they're around you, as they will not generate resources. Additionally, finding the sorcerer in the starter biome will be essential in finding other sorcerers and shops so that you can either buy or sell specific resources. Now this sorcerer will allow the buying of maps that show the location to other things in the world that are essential for fast progression. Lastly, clearing camps in the world may seem like an obvious thing for XP, but the main allure of chests are the large bounty of souls each one contains. These are usually around 250 to 400 souls depending on the chest that you open. And with a couple of these early on, you can rapidly upgrade your crafting stations and get your resource generating structures built by day 2 every single time. Just don't die with all those souls on you. While the building system in Tribes of Midgard might be clunky, It is absolutely essential to getting some game-changing loot and resources in a run. Now these items can be crafted at the Tinkerer, another reason to get it upgraded early on, and are relatively cheap to produce. Even the most basic levels of these structures will suffice well into late game. Craft mainly ramps. Honestly, no other building piece matters. These, while a bit finicky to judge their distance, will allow you to scale cliffs up to 2 height levels. Some areas on the map will have a little arrangement of turquoise squares, and these will always be on elevated terrain with no normal way to get up. Building up to these will contain ancient chests that can have game-changing runes for your character, incredible potions, and more, in addition to the bounty of souls that you get from each chest you open. Another tip that I really shouldn't have to repeat here, but you'd be surprised on how many people run through the map exploring and never touch these things when they find them. Whenever you see a little grayed out star icon as you explore, make sure you head over to it as soon as possible and get it activated. These will provide you with fast travel locations, allowing you to venture out farther and farther as the days get shorter and shorter. It's also essential to have as many of these activated as early as possible, as it allows you to quickly locate and engage the Jotun that spawn. Locating and taking down Jotun as soon as they spawn is single-handedly one of the best ways to ensure a saga run is completed successfully. Now, we've seen a lot of creators and players saying that you should be saving these statues that provide health, mana, and speed boosts for when you're engaging the Jotun that spawn, but we strongly disagree with that. These should be used in place of consuming your potions while you're rapidly exploring the map to keep your health topped off. Now, when engaging a camp, or simply trying to push as far into the wilderness as possible, having these running will keep your potion supplies safe. Plus, they will refill over time. They are not one and done, so don't be afraid to use them when you see them. Now this is something that we don't see talked about nearly as much, and if you aren't collecting these fragments right away, chances are by the time you are geared out and prepared to take on the saga boss, you won't be able to. The longer a saga goes on, the shorter the nights, the deadlier the enemies, and the more tanky each Jotun gets that spawns. You will need a combination of event, Jotun, hideout, and quest fragments to challenge the saga boss. I'm almost positive that the amounts required change per run, but in several of my runs, I've needed the following multiple times: 50 event fragments, 15 Jotun fragments, 5 hideout fragments, and 25 quest fragments. The only thing I've never seen change is the hideout fragments required. This is always 5. Now, event fragments can come from a whole host of different events in the world. Locating the stag when it appears and interacting with it will grant you some of these fragments. Now, the roosters of Ragnarok require someone to have a golden egg root. Having that and interacting with the rooster once you catch it will reward event fragments. Lastly, prisoners every so often will need to be rescued. Clearing out the enemies guarding them and releasing the prisoner will also reward you with some fragments. Now, Jotun fragments are pretty self-explanatory. Kill a Jotun and you will get some fragments. It's important to note that the more players participating in the kill will each get fragments, allowing this to be completed very quickly. Now, quest fragments are a little more tedious. You will need to interact with this board behind your healer. Pick up a quest and a location will be marked on your map with an NPC to talk to. Head over there and they will often give you a second step to complete. This could be anywhere from donating a large amount of armor pieces to simply bringing them a rusty tool, which can be found back in your camp in your war chest. Now, last up are hideout fragments, and these are the most difficult to obtain. Hideouts are denoted by mountainous looking icons with what looks like a door or a tunnel. Now, these are often found in the desert region and will function like dungeons essentially. You'll work your way through a gauntlet of difficult enemies, progress through sealed trapdoors by finding and activating levers, and finally end up in an area with a large boss-style enemies. Killing the bosses and all enemies on that final level will unlock the chest here, and allow you to claim these hideout fragments. Once again, doing these with at least one other person is strongly recommended. Now, if at any point you are finding these difficult to obtain, quest, hideout, and even event fragments can also be bought from different sorcerers, something we mentioned earlier on when exploring. Each sorcerer is different and will sell different things. We know that the sorcerer who spawns on the beach will sell hideout fragments for 1,500 souls a pop, and will likely be the only ones that you do need to buy. Now, other sorcerers in the land of pools and the winter areas also sell quest and event fragments. Only buy these if you realistically won't gather all of your necessary fragments by around day 10 or 11. Now, this is probably the single most common thing that will end runs. You have to be aware of how long you have to explore, when dusk is coming, and when night is arriving. Time management is literally your worst enemy in this game. At night, you will need to defend your settlement from hell things. These, however, won't require your entire group to be present to defend depending on your group's competency and gear, which means at this time, you could still have people exploring and collecting resources at night. Now this is important because at night, certain things like mushrooms and seaweed will sparkle and will be completely different resources that you will need for higher tier recipes. Now the big thing to be aware of is a blood moon, denoted by this red circle icon around your compass. Now if that moon is in the top middle or passes the top middle before night sets in, you will have to deal with a blood moon. This will make Hellthings much stronger, even having elites and exploder variants in the mix, and will often require most of your tribe to be present for defense. It is absolutely crucial that you tackle huge threats on your map before the onset of a blood moon, such as eliminating a Jotun on your map. As once a blood moon starts, that Jotun will go uncontested and have an ample amount of time to just speed walk to your base. The upside to a blood moon is that during the following night, you will not be required to defend, allowing your entire tribe to focus on a single task or spread out and farm. It's also important to note that with each passing day, the weather will get harsher and harsher. In most saga runs around day 10 or 11, it'll become so cold outside that you'll need to have invested in either carrying around cold elixirs or have armor with cold resistance. Now the best set of armor to invest in early after your starting villager armor is the Feral set, as it provides the best cold resistance early on. Now the purple cold armor set should be your next set that you piece together, but will require you to farm enemies in those cold zones of the map for those resources. Everything builds on your previous actions, so it's extremely important with all of this that you keep on pace. Last up, we have a tip that sounds really weird, right? But it's something that completely caught me off guard the first few times I was playing. As soon as you kill your first Jotun in a run, this rainbow crystal structure, known as the Bifrost, will activate. At any point, if you're about to fail a run, you simply head over to it and activate it. You will abandon that world and retain all of the golden horns that you got in that run. And there you have it, friends. Everything that I wish I knew sooner about Tribes of Midgard. Of course, there is still stuff like understanding what the different classes are good for in the game, but that would take a decent chunk of time to explain. So maybe we'll save it for another video if you want it. If this video helped you out and you want to help others understand the game like we do, feel free to share this video with them. Any questions that you have about Tribes of Midgard, feel free to leave a comment in the section below. We answer as many as we can, as often as we can. Now while you're down there, don't forget to hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing to the channel. Those two things are still the absolute best ways to help us grow here at Legacy Gaming, and we'd love your support. We also invite you to join us on Discord. We've got a great community of around 7,000 members, so if you're looking for a new place to hang out and talk about great games, check out the link in the description below. Finally, if you like what we're doing here at Legacy Gaming, and you want to support us just a little bit more, consider becoming a member. For just a couple bucks, you can help keep this channel going and take our community to that next level. So look for the join button below to learn more. My name is Livid, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.